When you live in such a hostile world, it's hard not to be depressed. It's hard not to feel stressed out, and it's hard not to feel sad and miserable because life is always changing for the worse for people like us in this position. And on the internet and real life, sometimes you can see it. You can see there's people that are enjoying their lives. There's people that are not dealing with the problems that you have to deal with. There's people that, they can get a girlfriend. They can get, or they can do what they want for a living, and they can make money from it and enough money to sustain themselves where they can just be independent, from the system altogether. There's people out there living their lives, and then there's people like us who we seem to just never be able to escape negative events and situations that lead to depression. And depression takes away your confidence. The more you're depressed, the more you're stressed, the more you just like you feel like just giving up on everything. And it's not just the sense of like you verbally say it, like, okay, I'm gonna give up on this, that, and the third. Some people may say that. Others, like me, we kind of just back away with subconsciously. Like we don't verbalize it. We kind of like emotionally internalize it. So if we're depressed, if we're stressed out, we may just stop playing a video game that we liked all of a sudden. We may just stop reading. Stop doing the things that we normally would do, and we kind of just result to just coping. Extreme coping. There's various levels of coping. There's various depths and levels of coping, right? It can go very deep, it can go very extreme, and it can go just regular. It can go from going to your 9 to 5 every day, coming off work and, having a beer, and playing Xbox, that's just normal. Or it can go extreme where it's like, you become a neat, you isolate yourself from the world, if you even have the ability to do that, because not everybody has the ability to be a neat. A neat is kind of like a dark privilege. It comes with like it's goodness, but it comes with extreme badness as well. That's just gonna destroy your mental health even worse. Over the long run, over the long years. Look at somebody like me, man. I've been through it in life, and I know a lot of us in this situation have, but it seems to it keeps getting worse. And it makes me wonder. I was watching Big Ward. I don't know if you guys know who that is. He's a YouTuber, and I was watching Big Ward, and he was talking about how people of my skin color configuration sometimes it's just unbearable. Sometimes the things that we go through is just like it's absolutely unreal. It's absolutely incredible. It's absolutely unacceptable, really, because when you are a person that doesn't really fit into the system, you're a creative or innovative person, there's somebody that you just kind of just keep to yourself, and you kind of have your own beliefs, your own perceptions of the world. Like you stick out from normal people, and people want to try to understand you. They want to try to understand your mindset. Like, why do you think this way? And it's simple. You think this way because you see how life really is. There's no blinders in your vision. You see life for the perfect precision that you can see it from, and usually wisdom and perception comes from pain. Unfortunately, some of the greatest teachers and some of the greatest sages and the greatest, philosophers, they were the people that were in pain. Some of them, people that went through extreme pain, people that have been through it, because as you're going through it, you gain clarity. When people betray you for the 10th time and you feel that pain, now you see the preliminary indicators of somebody that's about to betray you. You see the way, like, all of a sudden you start inviting them to places and they stop coming, or they stop inviting you to places, and the next thing you know, the friendship ends and they take something from you. They may steal your Xbox controller and never give it back. Like that. Like I've heard stories like that. Like I've seen stories like that. Right? And it's brutal. So you learn to just stick to yourself, because when you're by yourself, you can't let yourself down, right? Because you're already in your position and you understand your mind. But This is why a lot of people like us in this position, we kind of stick to ourselves. And if we do have a friend group, it's like a small friend group of like trusted people that we can really trust, you know. And these are people that have our backs, to in a way, right, to the best of their ability. But I don't think people understand. I see normies talking about how come people like us, why are we so negative, or whatever. It's like, it's not that we're negative. We live in a negative world. We live in a world that runs off of capitalism, and it doesn't care if you don't have any money, they're going to throw you out to the streets. We live in a world like that. The world itself is evil. The world is always engaged in warfare and all types of evil. So we're just a reflection of the world. And what I mean by that is like, we're not a reflection to the world, meaning we're bad people. The people like us who don't bother nobody. We just see what the world is and we just talk about it and just reflect that back at the world. When we talk about male isolation and male loneliness and the psychological trauma that comes with it, that's real life. A lot of us are traumatized, like we have PTSD, because we keep going through these negative events and circumstances that are designed to take away our confidence. You can't grow as a soul in a negative environment, especially when you have people around you that are trying to break you. They're trying, like, they have something against you. You haven't done nothing to these people. You haven't done nothing to the person, right? And they have something against you. It's like these are like little demons and little agents of the demiurge being sent there to try to take you down or something. It's crazy, you know? And this is the world we live in. All we're doing is just talking about it and explaining it, right? It's like people talking about, hood music. Oh, how come you guys rap about gangster stuff? They're rapping about what they're living. When a soldier comes back from combat and he's been wounded, you give him a purple heart. No, of course you do. And he tells you about his experiences. How many times have we seen experiences with World War II guys that fought in Vietnam, and they were talking about neutralizing people, and they told you the story how they neutralized people, and people seem to accept that. Thank you for your service, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, that guy was just, he wasn't thinking about his service. He was thinking about survival. It was him or that other guy. In that moment, when you're fighting for your life, it's about survival. It's not about, oh, I'm gonna be a courageous soldier on Flag Day or whatever. Or I'm wearing my parade uniform. It's not about that. When you're in that moment and it's life or neutralization, it's survival that kicks in, and you're gonna do whatever you want. You're gonna do whatever it takes to survive, right? But when people are born in certain economical positions that were artificially created and established and integrated, while while with the guise of plausible deniability, you know, while certain things were orchestrated so certain demographics can be in an economic upheaval and economic turmoil in perpetuity, and these people can be ignorant, and being easily led astray, right? You know, when somebody's explaining being in a poverty position and talking about what they have to do to be in these situations, it's always a certain demographic that gets scrutinized. The Italian mafia is people admire the mafia, right? People talk about the mafia, talk about John Gotti, Lucky Luciano, Paul Castellano. They talk about mafia bosses and stuff like that, right? You know, and they have documentaries, and you look in the comment section, people are like hyping them up. Oh my God, these people are, oh wow, they're so smart. Oh wow, they came from nothing. Oh my God, woo woo. But if those people had a different color configuration, then they'll be labeled as, criminals, miscreants, deviants, and they'll be associated with negative things. And that's the world we're living in, and we're living in a world where people they're quick to attack the truth, but they never attack the lies. That's something you're going to figure out about this world, is that the lies is what's always protected and the truth is always neglected. In fact, the truth is targeted, right? And you can see it through the social media platforms, all the censorship. Like, you have to be careful what you say in each sentence and each word, because everything you say there's like an algorithm that's reading every single thing you say in your YouTube videos or whatever. It's reading it, it's understand, like, so that's why you have to talk within the rules and the guidelines and the regulations. For somebody like me, I understand, the certain platform rules, but it's like, it feels limiting, that you can't talk from the soul, that you can't be real. You know what I mean? Like just 100% and just go in and, cuss and talk about, secret societies into more detail. But then next thing you know, your channel gets shadow banned, when the minute you start talking about things like that, and it's like, that censorship is not just on social media platforms, it's at your jobs, it's at your schools, it's like, there's like there's always been a hierarchy in this realm, you know? And I think for like people that are free spirited, they don't really fit in systems of oppression and systems of hierarchy with artificially created rules and regulations. And these rules and regulations are there to place a muzzle on your mouth, to place a muzzle on truth. How can people have their souls vindicated when they're not even being given the opportunity for real information? You know, and when it comes to like government owned platforms, the viability of that information is not really qualified, because they have an agenda. Remember, the mainstream media is not there to inform you. It's there to mind control you. It's there to warp your perceptions of reality into their viewpoint, into their lens point. So that way you can be easily controlled and more susceptible to their lies. You gotta listen to people that have no agenda, people that don't have, some $1 trillion companies behind them, and they're not a part of some secret society. Or you gotta listen to somebody like that who speaks real, who's really going through it. You can't listen to anybody who had a good life, man. Like people like us, we're a rare type of breed in a way, but we're increasing. Like over the next few years, you're gonna see a lot more people make videos like this. You're gonna see a proliferation of people like us, you know, in this position, who are downtrodden and going through hell in life. And you're gonna see more people coming up making videos. You're gonna see all these people coming out, and they're gonna be making videos, and you're gonna see this person is gonna be so, I guarantee it, you know. Like watching the next year, you're gonna see so many people come out of nowhere, and they're just gonna blow up, and they're gonna be talking about the exact same thing I'm talking about. you know. So it's crazy, man. When you're constantly going through negativity in life, man, it leads to, depression. And depression is hard to defeat when you don't have nothing there to counterbalance it. And there's always things in your life that it seems like it's really customized for you to go through. Let's say if you're somebody that likes to be free and you like that do your own thing, well, this world's going to find a way to make sure you're not free, and you're not going to be able to do your own thing. You're going to be trapped at a 9 to 5 somewhere. You're going to be trapped in a position where you're around someone who doesn't like you, and they're trying to start something with you. They're trying to mess with you. They're trying to do something negative towards you. They're trying to get your energy, because your energy is pure, and these beings are parasites, and they're trying their best to feed off of you. They're trying to get they're trying to create negative energetic manifestation frequency and create these lower vibrational frequencies in order to try to attack you, right? Like notice like people that do low vibrational things, notice that their whole life is low vibrational. They have no real aspirations, no real inspirations. Like their whole thing is just around negativity. Like these are people you have to stay away from, because negativity, it can spread very fast. But the problem, and what I mean by negativity, I mean life is negative. What I mean by negativity is people that's always trying to start things for no apparent reason. You got to stay away from people like that. People that always like to cause problems. People that like to go into the restaurant and talk loud and want to fight anybody when they get drunk, or something like that. Like you got to stay away from that. You got to stay away from anybody that's there to cause a fight, because you don't want to be involved with that, man. Because this world is designed that if you fight back, it's going to make it worse for you. That's how this world is. Like you could be attacked, but if you try to retaliate or fight back, then it's going to be worse on you. This is a reverse upside down dimension. This is a reverse hell realm. Like this prison doesn't even make any sense. So you're telling me if I fight back and defend myself, then I'm the bad guy? Really? And that's the world we live in. It's like it's designed to make you a subservient and obedient person of servitude. All right. And it's like, wow. And if you're a free spirit, if you're somebody that has a soul, if you're somebody that, you want to, like, at the end of the day, we want to be happy. So whatever you spend your time doing the most every day is, if you like, That's what your focus is going to be on. And if most of your time is you're in unfamiliar locations, you're in locations where people don't want you there, you're in locations where it's toxic, you're in locations where you're depressed, you're miserable, you're stressed, you're going through it, and life is not showing you no mercy or pity. That's how I know this God is cruel. People like in our position, we go through a lot of things. Like, you can lose your entire family. Your family can pass away, and you can be in a messed up position, then get kicked out there, and then you be in another position, and then you get kicked out of there, and then now you ain't got nowhere to go, and you're a grown man with no skills, no money, no license, no car, no nothing, no connections, mentally ill and depressed, dealing with demons, and you don't have nowhere to go. You don't have a pot to piss in. You don't have nothing. And to make it worse, you actually have a talent, but no one's willing to give you a chance. So you can actually gain some type of economic stabilization and acceleration with your talent and actually be able to live off that and make money. But then you see somebody who's 18 years old, 20 years old, 21 years old, younger than you, who's able to do it full time. They make music full time. They get 100 grand a month or whatever, or they make it they at least get that much a year, and they got other side. They got people that are willing to buy their products. They got people that show them love and support, and they got a whole community. They got all this. And it's like, it's interesting that the demiurge allows certain people to make it and allows other people not to make it, and especially the ones that really need it, the ones that are really going through it. And this God has no compassion on us. He sees what we're going through. He knows what we're going through, and he has no pity. He has no compassion. He doesn't care that you never had a girl. He doesn't care that you're depressed. He doesn't care that you're miserable. He doesn't care if your parents look at you like you're a failure and you could rap and make $1,000,000, but this God will never give you an opportunity to even try to get that $1,000,000 from rapping or whatever, right? This God will do whatever it takes to make sure you stay low, to make sure you stay out that job. You stay at that job, to make sure you're homeless, to make sure that, he sends parasites and evil things at you, to try to loose you, to try to get your energy, to try to get your attention, to try to bring you down, right? This God will send evil at you. Remember, in the Bible it says, and the Lord sent an evil spirit to Saul because Saul left that one person alive, right? Or a few beings alive or whatever. He was told to neutralize all of them by your favorite God of that Bible, right? A loving and caring being, huh? There's no loving and caring being that's going to threaten you with eternal fire and eternal hell. Anything threatening you with eternal torture is not something that you should get on your knees and worship. It's something that you should run from and stay far away from, right? But the problem is, a lot of us have been brainwashed, and not just in the last 100 years, the last 1,000 years. It's thousands of years of brainwashing that's been integrated into the social systems of society. And this brainwashing is going to take a long time to get people back, to the truth, which is not organized religion. Organized religion is there to create a spiritual prison. That's why it's organized religion. That's why the pastor talks more about having you pay your tithes and pay this, or you got to pay your tithes, you got to pay your dues, pay. It's a business. Because when real shit happens, when you need somebody to live and they pass away anyway, then that should show you everything. So this God supposedly loves you, but he takes out everybody in your family. He leaves you broken with nothing. You don't have a girl. You're going through it. You know, he makes sure that the people around you have a problem with you. So that way you can never, ever build a base of confidence. So now you have no place to live. So you have to find a job. So you find a job here. This job stresses you out. But you don't have a choice but to be stressed out for the job, because that's the whole purpose. The whole purpose was for this God to stress you out. You're thinking, oh, God, thank you for this job. This God is not what you think. This God is not there to make sure you have a good life. Otherwise, you would have had a good life. He's there to loose you. He's there to put you in situations that produce negative energetic manifestation and frequency. So that's why you get the job and immediately it's hell. Immediately, but then you can't quit it because you don't have nowhere to go. You're homeless if you lose that job. And notice that you really want to be able to do something else to make money, but that God, he never lets that take off. He does it on purpose because he doesn't want you to get to a higher vibration. Remember, you're in somebody else's video game. That's why when you try your hardest, you still get no results. because it's not meant for you. Like there's certain things that are meant for certain people. Certain people are meant to be millionaires and never go through nothing in life. And certain people like us are cursed and we're meant to go through it worse. We're meant to go through all types of hell in life just for the amusement and the pleasure of the demiurge. So we can produce negative energetic manifestation frequency, which is called loosh. And so this demiurge can feed upon it. And so he can become a stronger God. And if you don't believe me, look at the situations that you find yourself in life. You think that's an accident that happened? And then look at your reaction. Look at your emotion. Look how you feel. You're going to tell me that that's an accident? Really? Come on. Come on. Let's think deeply about this. This is something that's happening on purpose. This world was created with a purpose, on purpose. And or this world was created on purpose with a purpose, and that purpose is loose farming, is harvesting our negative energy. This is my personal belief, after reading the Gnostic text, and coming and then seeing it with my own eyes. Look at what we're going through in life. Why would this God put me around people that don't want me? Put me around somebody that doesn't like me. Put me around somebody that has a problem with me. When I can rap, I can make beats, I can write books, which can make a lot of money. That's not gang banging in the street. That's not doing any evil. That's not doing any wrong. So why wouldn't this God put me around somebody where they understand my talents and they allow me to grow and develop my talents, and I'll be able to do that full time, and we can be successful. Put me around somebody where we can form a video game business. So why does this God put us around everybody that's there to cause problems with us, but never puts us around people that actually love us and wants us to be successful? Why do you think that God does that if it's not for harvesting our negative energy? You know, right? Why, because God is testing you. Why would a God that's supposed to know everything to do test? That doesn't even make any sense. So you're trying to just create arguments out of your ass to try to defend something that can't be defended. That can't be defended. That's indefensible. You can't defend this. The things that I've been through in my life, I deserve to have a blessing. I deserve it. I don't give a fuck. I deserve to be a millionaire. I deserve to be famous. I deserve to have a beautiful woman. I deserve to have a mansion. I deserve to have a Bentley, Lamborghini, and Ferrari. I said it. All the hell I had to go through and am going through. I deserve to have happiness and peace and tranquility. I deserve to have 100 to go platinum, right? All the shit I've been through. And a righteous God that would have controlled this world would have been blessed me. But the God of this world is a bastard. Sophia's bastard. The demiurge from Gnosticism. He wants our negative energetic manifestational frequency, because this loosh that we produce when we're under extreme emotional turbulence and extreme emotional depressions and degradations, this emotional frequency is what these beings feed off of. It's why they put certain people through hell. And certain people, they don't go through it. They don't catch hell like how you catch hell. I catch hell every if I'm not gonna get too deep in it, but I go through a lot of things every single day, and it gets worse, like just even trying to use the bathroom's a mission, right? Trying to find a place to really cook your food, trying to find a place to really lay your head. Like people don't understand what I really go. This shit ain't easy for me. It ain't easy for a lot of us. And yet this God doesn't take no pity on me. He makes my life even harder. So how you expect me to love and care for a being that shows total and utter contempt against my very existence? Purposely making my life harder. When this God has the power to snap his fingers and put me in a position. But he doesn't, because he's my enemy. He's the demiurge, and he wants his loosh. So he does this on purpose. I wish I could be one of those guys that would be able to blow up on YouTube, which is interesting to say, because I've never ever thought to be a YouTuber. I didn't even believe it was possible, and yet here we are, right? But, I was watching this one girl, right? She does ASMR. And bro, there's always a new ASMR girl every freaking day. I'm telling you, this is my first video, and the video blows up, 80,000 views, 100,000 views, 1,000,000 views. That's like her first video, and then she may post another one, or she never posts again, or she posts 7 months later, and still getting views and subscribers, and it's just For some people, it's so easy to build an audience and to, actually do it full time. But for others, it's a grind. It's a struggle. Like me, I have to work my ass off. You know what I mean? But at the same time, to me, it's not really like that. It's more of me venting when I make these videos, right? It's like a therapy session for me because I get things off my chest, and it's therapeutic for me because this is all I have when I speak about, because I don't have a therapist. I don't have people to, like, as a grown, no one wants to hear a grown man complain. So I don't really have a friend group where I can sit there and quote unquote complain, because people, I don't want to hear about complaining, and then next thing they have a brain aneurysm because they're so stressed, but they tried to hide their emotions. And then they had the brain aneurysm, boom, they pass away, and people forget them, and life goes on, right? My whole thing is this. It's like, while I'm here, I want to be able to have the best quality of life by using my talents and my skills and my attributes, and to be financially and economically independent from the mainstream system so I can have my own business infrastructure, because I think that's the only way that I'll find true peace, is having my own business, having my own type of infrastructure that creates economic stabilization and acceleration, instead of being under somebody else's power where they can snap their fingers and I'm homeless and or I'm on the streets with nothing. I don't think people understand really the pain that a lot of us go through. That's why when I see these girls talking about, like, sometimes I see these girls talking about, oh, they're making these videos where I'm so lonely, and then you read the comment section, there's like thousands of people just literally want that want to take them on a date. Meanwhile, people like us, bro, you know, we're touch starved. Like, it's people that in this situation that haven't touched a girl in 10 years. Some of them never touched a girl ever, and these are grown men with jobs, with cars, with apartments. Some of them, but these are grown men that have never done those things. And they wonder why these men are weird. They wonder why they lack confidence. They wonder why they have no accomplishments. People don't understand sexuality plays a huge formation of your confidence. That's just how it is. Like, you being able to have sexual alleviation on a consistent basis, that relates to your confidence. It relates to your mental health. You feel love. You feel those feel good chemicals. It does a lot to your mental health. It does a lot of positivity to your mental health when you're able to, make love, when you're able to have a significant other, when you're able to feel love and compassion with somebody, when you're able to, you know, feel that, like, feel another person that actually feels for you and loves you and cares about you, man. For people like us, bro, that's like a dream. It's like a fantasy, and it shouldn't be that way. And they wonder why, this, like, we're depressed and our confidence is not high. I just really wish, man, a lot of us in this position can make it. I wish we can have our dreams. I wish we can have everything that we ever wanted come true. I wish we could have this, man. I wish we could really, really, really make it, you know, because we deserve it, man. A lot of us, we deserve to make it. We deserve to be happy. We deserve to have, peace and tranquility. Right now, I'm going through it, you know, I'm going through it, and I know a lot of us are, and we got to stay strong and keep our head up. But damn, some of the things I feel like it's orchestrated. Like, this was meant to happen. This is something that I didn't want to happen. I never wanted to happen. I did not want to be in this position. And boom, you're in this position. Boom, you have to face this. Boom, you have to go through that. Boom, you have to do. It's like, damn, this God knows exactly what where my weaknesses are, and then attacks me there. That's how I know the demiurge is real. The demiurge is real because you can see the things you go through in life. It's always the things that bother you and hurt you the most extreme things that can happen. And that's exactly where you don't want to happen. And those are the exact things that happen. So something read you like a book, something, studied you, analyzed you, is trying to find your weaknesses and trying to attack you. That's something a demon does, you know? That's what a familiar spirit is, one of those shadow beings that you see in your room sometimes. These are beings that are parasite, that are spiritually or parasitic, that attach themselves to you through depression and low vibrational frequencies. That's why you have to stay in positive frequencies, but we live in a negative world that's designed to make you produce negative energies unless you're rich. And the demiurge decides who becomes rich. You ever wonder why, some of these YouTubers become rich and successful? And you're like, damn, that guy doesn't even have talent. because the demiurge allowed him to do it, because he's not a threat to the demiurge, but somebody like me is a threat to the demiurge. Anybody who's awakened, anybody who can see the makeshift matrix, this evil prison, this evil soul trap spiritual prison, we're a threat to the system. And that's why we go through hell.